we'll use our beef, for example. You think I'm weak for not taking you up on a boxing fight. But on the same side of that coin, you won't take Brandon Buckingham up on that boxing fight. The whole point was, I don't stand by my beliefs because I won't fight you for it. Well, with that perspective, why wouldn't you fight Brandon Buckingham when you feel so strongly about your beliefs and he says the same things I do?
The internet and people like you that I put in the Soulboy collage dislike Andrew Tate from the start because of what he talks about, because he comes off arrogant, I'm top G, I'm the alpha male, and people get triggered because they're in their room, they're playing games, and everything he talks about goes against what they're about. So when he goes to jail falsely, people find it fun because finally the guy that goes against everything I believe in is in jail and can't talk anymore. It's not fun because it's like this goofy story. People like you were genuinely happy that they went to jail.
The content I make is just purely entertainment, like things I find fun. Now, I do give my perspective on issues, like on things that I'm passionate about, like Cuties. We'll tie it back to Cuties. When I saw that film and the way it was advertised with children twerking on the cover, it made me very upset and very concerned that pedophilia was going to be more normalized, because now you have Netflix with a front page catalog piece that I consider, and many others consider, to be child porn.
Yo, do you know Moist Critical?
See Moist Canyon's video?
Yeah, we saw me. What did you think of the Me Canyon video?
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Hey Charlie, what's up, man?
It was
Hey,
funny.
how's it going, man?
About it.
Cool.
Hey, yeah. Charlie. We squashed the beef.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Discussion with you about Cuties since I dropped that video back in 2020.
How time flies, man. Well, better late than never.
So, have you seen the movie?
Yeah, so you mentioned you saw my video, so you know I didn't finish the movie. I physically couldn't. I found it just to be completely repulsive.
Haven't you seen a lot of other movies that have repulsed you before? I watch horror movies. I watch movies that are provocative quite a bit.
Yeah, but this is something I feel isn't being recognized. There's a difference between being repulsed by fiction, which is like horror movies, that's not real, and being repulsed because there's real children doing sexual things. You can't fake that. The actresses were 11 to 13 years old. They were twerking. There was some very gross scenes in there, and like the cameras would zoom in on their chest and their ass and their crotch. Like, that's a very different kind of repulsed.
That's what we agree on. I don't agree that those scenes are good. I don't agree with the sexualization of children. I defend the movie because I defend the morality of the movie. And I think that most people that were disgusted have seen those clips or didn't watch the whole movie like you. So that movie was taken out of context quite a bit. People don't really see the moral of the movie, which is defending Islamic values and also pointing out the very real problem that young girls have going on social media and doing these dances. I agree that it's disgusting. I agree that those scenes are repulsive, but I think you could be repulsed by TikTok and pretty much what young girls are doing on social media every single day as well. I think that people outraged at that film should also be outraged at everything that girls are doing now on Instagram, TikTok, and all these apps.
Well, see, but here's the thing. So let's break it down to the very bare essentials. Can children consent?
Can children consent? No, they can't. We agree.
So then why do you think it's excusable to exploit them after having them sign up for this film? If you admit they can't consent, how can they possibly give the okay to be shaking their ass and having a camera all up in their shit while they're doing sexual things, like that scene where she takes a picture of her vagina, the scene where they're doing literal, like, toying around with cam sites? Like, that's very different. Like, no one is disputing the message, right? It's
a message. I agree with the intention of the movie. I don't think that those scenes are good. That's what we completely agree on. But I think that was an important movie to point out how many people get sucked into this world. I think that was needed. That movie was needed to be made. And I also don't think that movie encouraged pedophiles to go and cite and look at these girls. I think that they're more likely to go on TikTok and find girls that they're attracted to. I don't think that this really attracted people to these girls.
Well, it's not like I'm here arguing that this movie created pedophiles, right? But what it did is it delivered a film that they would watch for totally different reasons than the message. Again, the message isn't something that I or pretty much anyone has an issue with. The message is, like you mentioned, the social media poisoning them, making them do the sexual things, which is a problem. But this movie contributes to it since it still used real children to sexualize them to showcase it. That's the issue. You didn't
I don't
need
think
it to be
I don't think
children.
it contributes to it, because when you see girls doing this on TikTok, they don't know.
I don't see girls doing it on TikTok, though, is the thing, right? The only people that would are going to be the pedophiles. They would go and search that out. This movie was advertised on Netflix.
No, that's not true. Every time I don't have TikTok on my phone, but once in a while before I was banned, I would go on there, and the first 3 videos would be the same thing that you see on Cuties. And that's why I uninstalled the app. That's why I refuse to have it on my phone, because it's directing you to those images.
Which is a problem. I'm not disagreeing that's a problem. But that doesn't make this film...
We agree, but we just disagree that I think the movie was important to point out a flaw. Personally, I never empathized with girls being directed to that site before I saw that movie. That really made me understand what it's like to be a girl and grow up in that age.
I think we're getting... Yes, we agree that it is disgusting, but you are excusing it because you believe it highlights a very real issue, which it does, but it contributes to that issue by using children. They didn't have to use kids. You recognize that, right? They could have used...
They didn't have to use kids. But I also look at the director and I look at the moral of the movie, and I don't think that it was anything unsafe, and I don't think that the director had any bad intentions making it. So maybe it shouldn't have been as sexualized, but I defend the morality of the movie, and I also defend the effect that it had on me. When I watched that made me have a new perspective.
But do you see why that's kind of... Jesus, sorry, that was my cat. Do you see why that's kind of concerning to hear, though? Because in the time that I watched that film, there were unreal amounts of sexual scenes. In fact, the majority of the movie was them doing like the dance routines where they're smacking each other's ass, zoomed in on them shaking their ass in the camera. There's that scene where a security guard's like, "What are you girls doing here?" And they're like, "We're dancers." He's like, "Prove it." So they start twerking for him, and he's like, "Oh, great, get in here." Like, that is a problem, no matter how you spin it. Again, the message is fine. There was never anything wrong with the message, and maybe the intention of the director was...
How would you tell the director to convey the message in a different way?
You would just not use children. You could deliver the same message and you don't use children. The problem is
I don't think it would be effective. I don't think it would be as effective. It's
so
unfortunate that it's misinterpreted, but you couldn't be able to have that effect and show how provocative and how dangerous it is without using kids.
Yeah,
of course, the shots probably did not need to be that bad, but when I watched that, I was absolutely disgusted. And like I said, it changed my perspective. And what I'm surprised about is that you are against wokeness, because everything that your content is about, it doesn't seem like you've ever directed any energy towards how dangerous wokeness can be, which is exactly what that movie's about. It's saying how important Islamic values are in the face of wokeness. It's about a Western African family, Islamic. They go to France, a completely woke country that's now being burned alive, and women are running around topless. Wokeness has consumed France, and it's pointing out a proper solution to this problem, which is embracing Islamic values.
Who was the director of the film? Do you know?
Her name is Maminu Dukure. Maminu Dukure, I think that's her name. She's a Western African woman, and she moved to France. So I imagine that she had a very similar experience, and she was trying to portray what it was like growing up.
So the message of the movie is about social media, and almost exclusively. She directed the film based on seeing some children in a neighborhood doing sexual dances and wondering, how did it get to that point? This isn't okay. So the movie was supposed to be about how does a child get to that point, and it's about how social media is poisoning them, and they're constantly comparing themselves. They're seeing these things, so they're putting on makeup and they're doing sexual shit, and they never really understand why or the consequences of it. It's not a critique on wokeness, though. Of course, anything in the art field you can derive your own meaning from. I recognize that almost everything you encounter in life you tie back to either cancellation or wokeness, but in this film in particular, this is a movie I really feel conflicts hard with your ideology. Under no circumstances should children be sexualized, is where I stand. Do you disagree?
There's a lot of things in movies, like I don't agree with incest in Star Wars, but Star Wars has incest scenes. I don't agree with incest, but it's portrayed.
It's not real incest, though. This is real children being sexualized. It's not fake. These are 11...
I agree. But I'm defending the point of the movie.
You can defend the point of the movie, but you can still condemn the movie itself. The point can stand on its own 2 feet, right? Like, there is a problem, which you recognize, with kids being sexualized, in specific on TikTok. That is a problem in and of itself. But you can still condemn this film for contributing to the thing it's supposed to speak out against, which is sexualizing children, which you have admitted it does. And it didn't need to, like you said. That is the problem.
Maybe they shouldn't have used child actors, but I agree with the point of the movie. But how do you think that the point could have been conveyed in a better way? You think should they have used 18-year-olds to play 11-year-olds?
That's exactly what most movies have done for a long time. A quick example is The Last of Us using Bella Ramsey to portray a 14, 15-year-old. Like, you can do that, and that's a lot more acceptable because there is no longer a victim. Like you'd said, children can't consent. These kids could never fully consent to being sexualized in this film like this on the big screen.
I would argue that when they use 30-year-olds and 27-year-olds to play high schoolers, like in Euphoria and like in 13 Reasons Why, it actually sexualizes kids more because we start to mature high schoolers and we think of them in a different way. People in their 30s and their late 20s get addicted to Euphoria and they have ideas and they start romanticizing teenagers in a different way because they don't use actors in that way and they make them look more mature.
That's a completely separate conversation you can make arguments for, but that doesn't work here because it sexualizes already real children, right? So I think you're getting hung up on like the what ifs and like whataboutisms on other sides, but the core doesn't change. So let me give you an example. It is realistic to use kids for the message, right? Because it's about kids. Well, what if the child was naked doing the vagina pic? If they showed the kid's vagina, is that now too far? It's still realistic.
That's too far. So there's two ways the movie could have been changed to be more effective and that people would understand the message. One, they could have used child actors and they should not have been sexualized in that way. Or two, they could have been 18 plus and it could have been sexualized, but then it wouldn't have been as effective. One of the two should have changed. I agree.
Okay. So then do you think there's like levels to sexualization of kids that is acceptable and then unacceptable?
No, this is never acceptable to sexualize children, but
then we agree. So then can we then say, since this film sexualized children, I can't really champion the film. However, the message is okay. Like, I like the message.
I agree completely. But the reason I defend that movie is because I think everybody just saw those scenes and looked past the message and looked past the good moral that the director had when making it.
That could very well be the case for some people, right? 100%.
I would say most people. Most people who hate the movie haven't seen it. Most of the people accusing me of being a pedophile for defending the movie haven't seen it, have no idea what it's about. They've just seen those scenes.
But they're also still not wrong for being upset about those scenes. Like, can you recognize that?
I think they should be more upset at the problem. I think people should direct that anger instead of calling me a pedophile on the internet. They should look at the system that turns these girls into sexual objects at a young age and be more angry at that. That is the real issue. That is the bigger problem at large.
They do, though. It's not mutually exclusive, like where it's one or the other.
Do they? Do you?
Do I what? Talk about the problem?
Do you direct that anger? I see you follow the narrative that's popular on social media, but I don't see you ever direct it at the problem. Do you agree that wokeness is one of the biggest problems that corrupts kids nowadays?
Define wokeness.
Wokeness is the liberal ideology, is feelings over facts. I identify this way because I feel like it is. There's no gender, nothing matters. I do as I want. Everything that's promoted on social media.
Do you realize half of what you just described is how you've lived your life for the last year? Like feelings over facts, for example. You champion bullying. You think bullying needs to come back. I have never canceled you. Can you recognize that? I have actually always spoke out against deplatforming, if you've ever noticed. I spoke out against it.
No, but you were also disingenuous. When I called out the Soy Boy collage, you were like, these people just hurt my feelings. Most of those people actively advocated for my cancellation.
Nick is not green is the only person.
True. That's not true. Ethan Klein celebrated and clapped when I was banned and said, good, finally this misogynist is banned.
That's making fun. That's not him championing it. He wasn't out there leading a charge against you. When it happened, he laughed at you.
There was another one as well, the Nick is not green friend, the identical, the bigger one, the Bob's Burger look. He also was advocating for my cancellation. That was a big reason why I grouped them all together, not because they hurt my feelings. What happens on the internet, I understand. It's good to have back and forth. Bullying is good because it makes you have to develop your character in a different way. That's not why I was upset. I was upset because a lot of these people were secretly happy or secretly hoping that I was going to get banned because they disagree with my ideology.
But then why am I on that list when I've only ever spoke out against deplatforming? That seems like I'm there because I hurt your feelings.
You didn't hurt my feelings. I thought it was funny because you do look like the rest of them.
I don't understand how, but we're not here to get into the nitty gritty, I guess. But now
There's
that we're
a common theme with the people that have made hit piece videos on me, and you have to acknowledge that the people in that collage look very similar. Overall, and you can see it with the Fresh and Fit video that you still haven't corrected, where you called Fresh a virgin. A lot of it, and you see people that hate me, they're like, oh, this alpha male, this alpha male, this alpha male SNEAKO. And I've never once called myself that. I don't think I'm an alpha male. I advocate towards things that are conservative. I advocate towards Islamic values. That doesn't mean that I think I am an alpha male.
I've never
In fact,
called
I
you an
don't.
alpha male. You're
That
talking
is
to
the general
someone.
consensus, though. You've called my friends that. You've called Fresh and Fit that, and you haven't.
They call
corrected
them.
when.
You are really hung up on fighting for the honor of Fresh and Fit. What I did was exactly what you preach. I made fun of him. Calling him a virgin is a joke. Do I think he's actually a virgin? Probably not. No, I really don't.
You said there's no chance that he's had sex with 1,000 women or one woman, and that he's giving advice to lonely men and has no experience with men, when that's not the case at all. Overall, the attitude towards the people I put in the collage is men who actively play video games all day, who push wokeness to some degree or another, and then when somebody speaks out against that, they try to go at their character rather than go at the message that they're trying to promote.
Okay. I would like to point out a couple of things. A lot of the things you critique the woke for are ones that you actively partake in. Victimization, that's a big thing with the woke, right? Constantly playing the victim. Do you recognize how often you play the victim in terms of like, I'm being canceled, everyone's against me, you go on your Discord to talk more about it, even this morning talking and naming and shaming people that you think have slighted you as like a cancellation? You do the exact same things. Like, you are also an SJW.
That's not victimizing. That's actively pointing out that literally every streamer, the entire internet, all of YouTube reacted to your video. I drop a response where I even apologize for going out of character and getting emotional. And then but nobody wants to see what I have to say. I've become a caricature on YouTube rather than somebody who has something to say. I've become a meme because I am banned. That's not victimizing. That's actively pointing out how strong censorship is and how people on mainstream platforms can run with the narrative when you're not there.
The way you just justified it is a way many other people that you call playing the victim would also be able to justify things. The point is, when you are constantly whining and talking about how you're being attacked, it is still being victimized. But regardless, we're getting off track. One of the things that you also talk about is the frequent posting on Twitter and like the poisoning that Twitter does on the mind, the brain rot, which is something I fully agree with. But you have over like 20,000 tweets. You are on Twitter more than pretty much anyone I know, especially like talking about, being the victim and constantly promoting things, which is something you also call out. You were upset when I made a joke about using you for merch pushes for me. But that you literally do that under every tweet you make, and you make like 20 a day, it feels like, half the time.
When did I say I was upset about the merch push?
You took a screenshot of my DMs and you were like, here's the true face of a YouTuber, just using drama for views and ad sales, merch sales, whatever. That's not
what upset me.
So then what was the feeling behind posting the DM screenshot?
It's disingenuous, and now we're having the debate, but you would rather DM and go and make this about drama. Oh, let me go and react and do more drama content rather than have a conversation.
But I never
and I'm
did
glad
that.
You're doing it now.
But you have to remember that I didn't start any of this. You reacted to me telling jokes about your friend and then had your audience tell me, and that went on for like 2 weeks. And so eventually I explained why I don't like you. And then when I did that, that was the only time I planned on talking about you. You went on stream with your gun to threaten me, and you kept it up for 3 months, adding me.
I didn't do that to threaten you. That was a joke about clips. You actually think I was threatening you?
Whether or
you're
not
gonna talk
you were
about victimized, you're gonna think, okay, you're gonna say victimized, and you're gonna say I'm actively trying to threaten you by saying a clips joke on a stream.
I don't think you were actually coming after my life. It doesn't change the fact that for 3 months you continued to carry it on. I wasn't reacting to you. I wasn't even talking about you. But then you keep pushing it, and then you keep... I don't want to bring in my girlfriend or anything, but you did just keep going, so I talked about you again. I'm not constantly talking about you, right? I'm not farming drama off of you, but you use all
You
of
farm
these.
drama off of the people that push the exact same message, and you still haven't
Like
corrected
who?
the video that I found Fresh and Fit on.
But
You haven't corrected the fact that you thought that Andrew Tate was doxxed by a pizza box. Now, finally, he's free after not having any charges against him, without having any evidence. He was in jail for 4 months. And then people like you push this narrative that he was doxxed by a pizza box. I call you out because you don't correct your mistakes. You were wrong about Fresh and Fit. You were wrong about Andrew Tate. And you were wrong about the movie Cuties.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you tied it back to Cuties, but before we get back to that, how am I feel like I'm one of the very few people on the internet who corrects himself. Whenever I make a mistake, I do go and make a clarification. For example, I got something wrong with a content creator holding a stand-up competition that was absolute dog shit, and then someone came there and made fun of him, and I didn't know the full context. Once I got the full context, I went back and made a follow-up video to explain it in more depth with more clarity. I always do that. With Fresh and Fit, you really hung up on this idea that he fucked 3 women that night after meeting an NBA player at a bar, and they exchanged Instagram information, and it turns out they were Eskimo bros with the same girl's pussy. Like, it's an outrageous story. Now, whether or not it's true, you haven't proved it either. Were you there watching him fuck? Were you cheering him on?
He verified it. He showed the DMs with the basketball player. They did the whole podcast verifying the story.
The DMs.
You didn't correct it. Okay, so you didn't correct that. They did verify the story. You didn't correct it.
Did they have the basketball player? Did they have the basketball player and the 3 girls he fucked come on and be like, oh my god, he absolutely plowed the shit out of me. It was the best sex of my life. Did he have...
That would never happen, but he did show the DMs with the basketball player verifying the story and that he did go to the party. Whether or not you want to believe he was with 3 women, I wasn't there either. I guess we're never going to know. But He did get the DMs from the basketball player. You were insinuating in that story that he never even met him and that whole thing was made up and that it's not possible on Instagram. You also didn't correct yourself on Andrew Tate getting doxxed with the pizza box.
But I also never...
video apologizing.
Whoa. I don't know if you even watched the video, because I did say... the claims were of a pizza box, which was backed by like early onset news. I never said for sure. I talked about how that would be extremely entertaining if that was the case. When I cover something like that, for example, Justin Roiland, I'm sure you followed that. He was recently found innocent on all of the like domestic abuse charges. I always said, if these charges are true, and then I'll make jokes about if like these crazy things like the pizza box are true. But I never fully say like this is a true fact. So the pizza box thing being completely fake was never something that I really truly believed in my heart was real or reported on it as a very real thing. Just played with the fun idea if it was, because of how silly and outrageous it is. And
why
now
is
Andrew...
that fun? Go back to that point. Why is it fun that 2 men who have no charges or no evidence against them went to jail? But tell me, what's the fun idea about 2 men being falsely imprisoned?
The fun idea is they're falsely imprisoned based on a pizza box. It's playing around with the pizza box, not them being in jail.
That's a fun idea to you? That's a fun idea that 2 men... And this is a problem that we should both be aware of, and that men should be aware of, that you can go to jail without any evidence or charges, that the entire internet can lie about you and think it's funny.
You are finding weird ways of taking a fact and running in an opposite direction. The humor is if right now, SNEAKO, the authorities busted in and said, Charlie, we noticed your first edition Pokemon card behind you is fraudulent. That's a crime. You're going to jail. You would probably laugh because it's so outrageous and silly. Just like being doxxed by a pizza box leading to prison time is outrageous and silly.
Don't be disingenuous. That's not why you think that's funny. There's the internet and people like you that I put in the Soulboy collage dislike Andrew Tate from the start because of what he talks about, because he comes off arrogant. I'm top G. I'm the alpha male. And people get triggered because they're in their room, they're playing games, and everything he talks about goes against what they're about. So when he goes to jail falsely, people find it fun because finally the guy that goes against everything I believe in is in jail and can't talk anymore. It's not fun because it's like this goofy story. People like you were genuinely happy that they went to jail.
I don't recall celebrating or pumping my fist. Last night I was even talking about it. I'm not out there celebrating, lighting the streets on fire in joy. What do you think I stand for, SNEAKO?
I have no idea what you stand for.
Then why do you keep...
videos. I don't know what your beliefs are. It's not clear. It's not clear, and I think that now, seeing what's happening to Andrew and Tristan Tate and what's happening to men who push the ideas that I push. I think it should be very clear for everybody watching that you watch a content creator that has a specific ideology. I've watched you like in high school and college, and it's like drama content, you're covering stuff in the news. I have no clue what your belief system is. I've seen your music videos with the Antichrist, and you're smoking weed, and you play a lot of video games, and you kind of like, there's a lot of other commentary channels. You look at the header, it says, we talk about stuff. And I have no idea what position they're coming from, because it's not in your best interest to have a point of view. It's better to just cover drama and make AdSense money off of it. If you have a specific ideology that goes against what social media pushes, look where I am. I'm on Rumble. Nobody watches your video and everyone piles on you.
So there's a very big difference. The content you used to make, I wasn't super familiar, but I went back and looked. You used to make thought-provoking, more artsy pieces, and then you transitioned more into lecturing and life advice. The content I make is just purely entertainment, like things I find fun. Now, I do give my perspective on issues, like on things that I'm passionate about, like Cuties. We'll tie it back to Cuties. When I saw that film and the way it was advertised with children twerking on the cover, it made me very upset and very concerned that pedophilia was going to be more normalized, because now you have Netflix with a front page catalog piece that I consider, and many others consider, to be child porn. So I would give my perspective on that. This is gross, and here's why. And then I'd list out some of the absolutely repulsive scenes, like the children watching porn or like campsites, twerking, being filmed twerking, all of it with real children. That's a real problem. When I'm covering goofy shit like Gwyneth Paltrow being sued for a ski accident, do I need to tie it back into like the woke agenda or something in order for you to get my perspective? I don't think so. It should just be about entertainment. That's always like the core. It should not be
about entertainment. There should be some value that you're adding to your audience. And the reason I criticize you for that is because, like everybody else who hates that movie, they didn't even watch it. You didn't finish the movie. And we both agree. Sexualization of children is bad, but we already agree on this point. That movie had a way to point that out. Obviously, it was bad, but I agree with the morality of it. But I think that's a problem, and I think that your audience should pressure you and to have a more specific point of view rather than just saying fun things. You can be funny and still have a point of view. It's getting harder for men out there, and you see it. They go to jail, and people laugh about it. It's getting harder for a man to survive in this climate now.
And I have made content on that. It's content I see that you haven't seen. I had a whole stream dedicated to talking about why so many men are lonely now and turning to things like you offer them with a creativity kit. You think one of my big problems with Andrew Tate was
the creativity kit has nothing to do with being lonely. The creativity kit is about making money online. There's no loneliness.
That's still
that is
in my eyes, selling courses, giving people advice that isn't guaranteed to work like that is exploitative and taking advantage of desperate people. You can have a different point of view, that's totally fine. One of the big problems I had with Tate was his business, Hustlers University, charging $50 a month to be part of a Discord server where you're not really getting the tools to succeed. I've seen what goes on in there. It's mainly like people just talking at each other. He doesn't really participate. The lessons aren't overly helpful. It's very generic advice that you could find for free on YouTube. So it's charging this high price.
Of course you can find it for free, but having it reinforced by somebody that you look up to is an extremely important thing. And if you think that you're exploiting somebody by charging them $50 a month, there are a lot of case studies in the creativity kit where people have become extremely successful from the information that they found in there. Call it advocating towards lonely men. People have met there and moved to Florida, and now they've built businesses together, meeting in the creativity kit, finding like-minded people. What's more important than exploiting somebody's money, and what you're glossing over, is exploiting somebody's time. Time is money. And if people are investing their time into watching drama content, fun stuff, let me laugh at someone falsely in prison, they're wasting their energy watching you game for 12 hours. That is a bigger waste of lonely men's time. They're not getting any value from watching you game for 12 hours. They are getting value from paying $50 a month and learning the secrets from somebody who's been doing this for 10 years. But what's a better use of your energy? $50 on a course from vetted millionaires, or watching a gaming streamer for 6 hours every night?
Well, he didn't use the course to get rich. He's getting rich from the course, the same way that the course that you're selling is not like your main way that you made money. You are making money from that course now, as opposed to what the course is teaching. But again, this is getting completely sidetracked.
That's just not true. That's not my main source of income. I enjoy doing it, and it's a great way to have a network. And you talk about all the lonely men that are out there. What are you doing to go and help these people? We understand that there's a problem with loneliness of men. People get in there, they ask me questions about how do I network better? How do I find people who are like-minded? You give them advice, and you can see them transform their life. I'm curious as to what you think is a better alternative, because you stream gaming for 6 hours. Is that a better solution to men who are lonely watching you play video games, or giving advice to men who don't know how to find a community of like-minded people who don't know how to make money online and want to live a lifestyle where, look, I'm in Japan. You're still in the same room that I've seen you in since high school.
I can go places. I choose not to. I'm happy here the same way you're happy traveling in Japan. Like, these are non-arguments that you're making. It's the same argument
I've never seen you outside of your room. And I don't know how many years I've seen you on YouTube. I've never seen you out of your room. I've seen you with dildos in your room, throwing it at each other and your friends. I've never seen you travel. I've never seen you network with other people. I've never seen you show your audience what's possible if they make money as well. I've seen you play video games since like 2016.
In one of the clips you showed of me, I am outside at Gasparilla with my girlfriend. What are you talking about?
At what?
Gasparilla is like Mardi Gras, but for Florida. Like, you have literally shown me outside. I don't know why you're trying to make this case that I'm never outside.
You stepped outside in Florida. I've never seen you go to different countries. I've never seen you network with successful men. I've never seen you around a group of men who are on the same page. That's it. The purpose is showing our audience what's possible. A lot of people are tired in this lifestyle. We talk about lonely men. The number one problem that lonely men have is watching porn, is playing video games and getting addicted to this stuff. That's what's contributing to loneliness more than providing them an avenue to go and elevate themselves. That is the biggest contributor. People who don't know how to live life, how to go outside, how to meet different people, but find a comfort zone in their room playing video games and watching porn.
It's impressive how you tie everything back to porn now. That you're talking about things that are agreeable. And this is what I've said about Andrew Tate. He doesn't always say silly, dumb shit, but he does. And he couples it with good, real things. Like you mentioned, porn addiction is a problem. Like, no one's going to disagree with that. But everything that you're sprinkling in outside of it is totally fucking irrelevant to the rest of it, man. You going and flexing on your audience isn't showing them what's possible. It's showing what's possible when they're paying for your lifestyle. The advice you give, you thrive off them staying miserable, right? The second they get happy, the second they get money,
no,
the second
I definitely don't.
They will not be paying for your course anymore.
If my audience does not get value from my content, they're going to leave. The reality is that streamers and content creators like you, the audience always grows up. They watch a little of the gaming content, then they grow up. They're not learning anything, and so they go to another content creator. They go to somebody else who's popular or trendy. You need to add value to the audience, or else they are going to grow out of it.
And the value of most things is entertainment. What you used to do was humor interlaced with your stuff. Now it's just preaching to the choir of people that already subscribe to your hive mind. You're still doing the same thing.
That's what you see on Twitter, because that's the only mainstream platform that I'm still allowed to be on. If you watch my stream,
I have watched your
in a couple
streams.
weeks. When I watch my stream for 4 hours, it's not preaching. A lot of it's humor. My motto is seek truth through funny.
Which you've abandoned.
What's going on in the world.
It seems you have completely abandoned that. I have watched your streams. I have. A lot of it devolves into just talking again about the same things you always mention. Soy boys, bots, woke mind virus, and then dancing around. And then always trying to defend and find the other side of something controversial. It's the same formula over and over again, because that's how you found to keep your audience hooked. It's no different than people that...
I go on Omegle and I'm joking around for an hour, 2 hours. I bring on my viewers and we joke to each other. I bring on people, real life people, they sit next to me and we joke around. I have different podcasts. I have different guests. I just did a podcast with Ryan Dawson, uncovering Epstein and uncovering the truth about 9/11, which I really recommend that you go see. I have different types of content. You're trying to box it in because maybe that's what you see on Twitter. And it's probably the result of why nobody even watched my rebuttal, because they don't feel the need to go onto Rumble and a different website. They're stuck into this pattern of watching content that's suitable for YouTube and the trending page. If they go and they would look out of it and they watch my stream, there's a reason I have an audience and I was able to survive the cancellation, because I do add humor. I do add value. People want to see that. They see something in my stream that brought them onto a website that's alternative. How many YouTubers could have survived that? How many YouTubers could have survived a big tech cancellation to an alternative platform that's labeled as an alt-right conspiracy website and still maintain the same audience? You can't do that by repeating the same things every day. You have to add some value.
But you can. That's the number one grift right now. As long as you are contributing to an echo chamber, the people will not leave you. You form a reliance where they're constantly suckling your tit for validation that their point of view is the right one. And the more that you claim the victim, the more that solidifies and cements them that belief is the correct one because people are attacking them.
That's absolutely not true at all. I've been talking about the woke mind virus for a long time, and now my audience wants to get to know the truth, so I've been interviewing different people. I did a whole podcast uncovering Epstein and who's actually on the client list because that's one big conspiracy theory that people want to know more about. I did an entire podcast uncovering 9/11 and the Iraq War and what happened and why war is created by deception. I'm getting into more things because if you get repetitive, they're going to leave. Trust me. You can't do the same thing over and over again. They will get bored. They're not going to stay. If they just watch me yell bot, nobody would enjoy that.
But
nobody would like that.
This must have been a change over the last month or something because I have watched a good chunk of those streams. I have. And it has been the same topics repeated the entire duration. Like, it's not like I blindly have hated you. I went out of my way to find redeeming qualities about you. But you have become, in the same way you think people were, plagued by the woke mind virus, you have become plagued by the exact opposite, where you try and find every possible way of being controversial, even though I don't think you believe half of it. I really don't. I think
what
a
do you
lot...
think I have a very clear point of view. What do you think that I've said that I don't believe in?
So we'll use our beef, for example. You think I'm weak for not taking you up on a boxing fight. But on the same side of that coin, you won't take Brandon Buckingham up on that boxing fight. The whole point was, I don't stand by my beliefs because I won't fight you for it. Well, with that perspective, why wouldn't you fight Brandon Buckingham when you feel so strongly about your beliefs and he says the same things I do? Wouldn't you want to prove that you stand...
The first fight that I want to take would be against somebody, one, who has more clout than me. Two, I disagree with ideologically. I don't disagree with him ideologically at all.
But he says the same things I say about you.
This person has been obsessed for a long time. He's suing me for emotional distress. Personally, I don't care about this person, and there's no benefit for me to take my first fight with this person.
So then
if
your
I
beliefs...
fought somebody, I challenge.
So then
the reason I was banned on Twitter for challenging Hasanabi to a fight. One, because a lot of people want to see that. He's well known. He disagrees with me completely. There's a lot of tension for that fight. If I fought you, you have said a lot of things that are very negative about me. There's beef in the air. And you talk a lot about me, so things that you probably wouldn't say to my face. It would be an entertaining fight.
But that's not the point. The whole point is you think I am weak and you keep harping on this for not taking you up on the fight. But you won't take someone up on a fight that's saying the exact same things I am. So it seems like the beliefs, you don't stand by that strongly if you're not confident you can make a spectacle.
Charlie, we both know you wouldn't accept the fight.
Right, I've made that very clear.
We both know. Even when I challenge you, we both know. It's to point out that a lot of people talk a lot of talk online and they never have to face the consequences because they stay in their room gaming all day. That was to point it out. Men are tired of seeing this back and forth internet drama. They want to see people go and settle it. I've never said a word about this person that you're bringing up. I haven't said a word about him since last summer. I won't say his name publicly again. I'm being sued for emotional distress. I'm leaving that alone. I have no problem with this person. We have gone back and forth. We're going back and forth on Twitter. People want to see it. People are tired of these keyboard warriors going back and forth. That was to point out the fact that men should not feel so comfortable talking a lot of talk on Twitter that they would never say in person.
You made claims of Brandon Buckingham being like a rapist and shit. Wouldn't that be something that you'd want to fight about at that point?
That was not a claim that I made. I
can't remember the specifics of it, but you did toss out the word rapist when talking about Brandon Buckingham. I don't remember the context it was used in, but you did mention it, right? So why is all of a sudden that now beneath you? Like, you don't have any problems with him now after he's willing to fight. The point is, you're talking about, you say these things and you don't have consequences. Well, what about you? You said these things. He's trying to give you those consequences that you think are so important, and you won't take him up on it. There is a clear hypocrisy.
That was a different example. The guy was a previous fan. It's a giant misunderstanding. There's a lawsuit involved, so I can't talk about this too much, but that is not what I accuse him of. I do not think he is that word. I never said that about him, and that's a lie. He wants to do it because there's an obsession going on, but that's irrelevant.
Well, it's all tying back into the point I'm making, where the things that you preach against, you yourself embody. I don't see how you have all of these spins for it, but do you recognize that's not actually justification? For example, you like the message of Cuties, but you also admit that it literally sexualizes children, which you agree is a bad thing, and that there's no sexualization of children, that it should be acceptable, but you still champion it. So the things that you like actively talk about, like hating and all that, you are still championing for. Sensitivity.
I champion good intentions. I do not think that you have good intentions with your videos. I think that you've said it in this debate. You like to entertain. You say what's fun, what's trendy. If somebody gets falsely imprisoned, you think it's funny because it's a pizza box. I agree with the intentions that the director had making Cuties. She wanted to point out the wokeness. If people have good intentions, I will defend them. I don't think that you have any specific point of view on the world, so I challenge your beliefs. That's what's more important than what's said and what's taken out of context every single day.
You haven't challenged any of my beliefs, though. Most of this has just been an attack on me or my girlfriend, which started all of this. You're not challenging beliefs, SNEAKO. You're stuck in your own echo chamber.
I challenge your belief of you gaming all day and criticizing me for adding value to my audience by teaching them how to make money online, while you suck up their time while they watch you play video games and you add no value to their life.
You also suck up their time, though.
Entertainment, and how there's no need to have entertainment, and how it's just supposed to be fun. I challenge the ideas that YouTubers can sit there and talk and do commentary videos every single day without any specific point of view. All of that goes against everything that I talk about.
I'm very confused on a lot of this. You don't like sports, right? Because sports is a waste of time. Watching sports is a waste of time, right?
No, I don't watch sports.
Well, but more than that, you think people that watch sports, they're not getting any value added to their life. You think it's wasting their time.
There is a better use of people's time. Of course, you can watch a game once in a while, but that is a waste of their time. It's getting harder to go and succeed nowadays. You should be investing your time to something else. But you said yourself, let me ask you this question. What are your beliefs? What are they? I don't know them. Can you tell me what you believe in?
Yeah, I feel like I've made my beliefs very clear. I am very firmly on the side of there are certain things, and it's going to be different for everyone, that make people happy. And main thing I want is for people to be happy. I don't like that men are alone, which is why a lot of the advice I give is telling them to get out of their comfort zone and start with something like the gym. The gym is a very social environment. It's an environment where everyone's working towards similar goals. You immediately surround yourself with like-minded people, and maybe you make a connection at the gym. Maybe you can find a friend there, but even if you don't, you are out of your comfort zone in an environment where people are working for a similar goal. And that already changes your mindset as a person. You've given yourself a goal, you are acting on it, and now you're surrounded by people that are also in a similar boat. I think most importantly is I want people to be happy, and a lot of times they can't find that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with escapism, like watching someone play a game or even playing games yourself. Watching a sport, playing a sport yourself is also great. I play pickup basketball every Thursday. Getting out, talking, outside of a comfort zone, instead of sitting online making 20,000 tweets on the SNEAKO Twitter, I think is not productive. Replying to SNEAKO's Twitter, replying to my Twitter, none of it I think is productive. I've had Twitter since 2012. I've made 2,600 tweets, and half of those are just shit posts or a retweet. I think all of that, locking yourself inside as a recluse, living in this completely toxic landscape like Twitter, is the most detrimental thing for a person, and that extends to TikTok as well. I think TikTok has absolutely ruined people's brains in terms of what they can even stomach as an attention span. Having to have like Subway Surfer underneath a video of someone talking because you can't focus long enough, I think it's all a problem. So the things I talk about are usually geared towards either entertaining people for 8 minutes a day or whatever, or during a stream if they're already home from work and just need to unwind. I think all of that is fine. But I do always try and give some level of advice. My background, I don't know if you know, I'm a human science graduate with a concentration in exercise physiology. I believe very firmly in the mind-body connection in terms of strength building and muscle building. It's going to change your whole brain chemistry, and it will help improve the way you're looking at the world. So that's one of the big things I talk about is even if you're 100% comfortable with your body, there is no reason not to at least try to make these kind of differences and change your perspective on things. Like, it doesn't even have to be a body issue. It helps your mind overall. I am always against people paying for advice from so-called gurus and professionals because you don't need it. The beauty of the internet is it is an unlimited repository of all of the human knowledge, just this compendium of every piece of information for every subject you could want. And you can access it for free. Under no circumstances do I ever advocate for someone paying up to $50 a month for advice they can freely find right now, even if it doesn't come with a built-in...
Gamers always have the argument, but then they never talk about how college is a waste of time and that people go into $50,000 to $100,000 in debt from people who aren't vetted millionaires. If you could pay $50 and talk to a vetted millionaire who has made money online in a way that they don't teach in school, $50 is a steal. People get really upset about this because you're paying somebody directly and you know who you're spending the money on. You don't get upset about college because you don't know the principal, you don't know the headmaster, you don't know the donors. They're nameless people behind a university. So the point of the network is collection of information concentrated in one place, and also the network of people that you can find. Right here, I'm in Japan traveling with somebody that I met from the Creativity Kit. That is something that is invaluable and that you will only find by paying $50, which is not a huge price.
That is a big price, but also, do you see what just happened there?
$50 is a huge price. That's the same price as your merch that you're using to advertise on this drama. Would you rather your audience pay $50 for a t-shirt from a gamer, or they meet somebody that they can go start a business with?
That the merch isn't $50 for a t-shirt, but regardless, what I want you to recognize is what happened there.
It is.
Okay. It's still not, but with what just happened there is I was talking about something and you went into PR speak and salesman mode to talk about your course, and you attributed something to me that I actually talk against. I actually have spoken many times about why college just isn't right for everybody. It's not. It simply isn't. I think college provides an invaluable social experience where for the first time in your life you're on your own, so you learn how to fend for yourself, you learn how to interact with roommates, strangers, so you get social skills, but college is not going to be a great fit for everyone, especially when it comes to certain academia positions, especially like in some art fields. I actually talk a lot about that, but you keep lumping me in with this perception of a gamer and these beliefs that you don't know anything about me on, and yet you still put me in there.
Then you should probably make them more clear. I've been personally watching your videos for years, and I had no idea about any of this. I've seen you gaming. I've seen you react to drama content. I didn't know that that was your method to make people happy, which I think is a narrow way of answering that question about what you believe in and what your belief system is.
I was still
but that's
going.
fine. But I'm glad that you said that, and I think that you should reiterate that more in your video to add more value to your audience.
So you said you've watched for a long time. These aren't secrets. I made a video 6 years ago. I just double checked. I uploaded a video 6 years ago called "You're Getting Fucked by College Textbooks." The entire video is about how college textbooks in particular are a massive scam and a very predatory system that universities are using. I do talk about these things. You are just not seeing them and then still putting words in my mouth. My beliefs, I think, are very clear to the people that watch. They're not a secret. They're not hidden. I make them very obvious. But we're so sidetracked now because you're trying to look for angles to throw me into these camps that I just don't fit in order to make it seem like you're morally superior.
In your belief, because you criticize me for tweeting I have 20,000 tweets, but like you have a high and mighty 2,000. You've been making videos every single day for 6 years. You're pretty much shit posting on YouTube as much as I am on Twitter, which is my only mainstream platform. To say that I didn't know what your belief system is, that's not a critique on me because I've seen many of your videos. That's a problem of your content. And the beliefs that you just conveyed here, it does not show in your content whatsoever. I'm re-angling my whole content to make exactly what I want for my audience to be specifically clear. That's why I'm traveling. That's why I'm showing myself training every single day. The message that's conveyed in your videos is play video games for 8 hours. That's what it looks like. You're in the same room. You have all these gaming posters around. That's what you do. That's what people know you for. Do you think that people know you for how to be happy, or do people know you as the guy who plays Super Smash Bros? Genuinely, what do you think the perception that people have of you is?
Well, it's certainly not Smash Bros, since I don't play it. I don't understand the point you're trying to make. I would imagine people look at me as just a channel of wild nonsense, just goofy shit. For example, I started a fucking wrestling league where it's all about the most over-the-top stupid fucking wrestlers fighting with ridiculous storylines and silly production. Like, this whole thing, you really want to laser focus on me playing video games as if it's some kind of huge blemish on my credibility or reputation. Again, it's not, but it's also super weird because it's not the only thing I do. In fact, if you went to my channel right now, I think there's only 3 gaming-related videos over the last month. It's not like all I talk about is gaming and everyone needs to be gaming all hours of the day. There's nothing wrong with unwinding after a day of work with watching a Twitch stream, or, you know, you used to stream a lot. Do you think everyone that went to you is wasting their time? Because, again, the streams I watched, you were repeating the same points. To me, that's not adding value. That's just already cementing and preaching to the choir. That doesn't seem like adding value. Were they wasting their time?
I have a specific point of view. I make my point of view of the world clear, but I cover political content. I talk about the vaccine. I talk about what happened on January 6th. I cover current events every single day. I give people a
That's
reason
the main
to come
thing you
back
criticize me for is
real
covering
issues.
current events, though. Like, you're talking about that
You
like
don't
it's a great
cover
thing.
current events. You say, no. You don't
cover
current
everything
events.
that's silly.
You cover WWE, like you just said. You cover drama content that you see on Twitter. You're not talking about January 6th. You're not talking about the fact that Pfizer was exposed for gain of function on the vaccine. You're not talking about what's really going on, what they censor on YouTube. You're talking about wrestling.
One of your main... You didn't even know about wrestling until just now, where I made a wrestling thing, not talking about it, but one of your critiques was talking about drama.
Wrestling adds nothing to people's lives. You know what adds something to people's lives? Learning the vaccine probably isn't as safe as effective as they market it as. What's also adding value to people's lives, learning that they rigged the election against Donald Trump because look at the footage that they hid about January 6th. Now I'm going to change who I vote for in the next election. Now I'm not going to trust the people that I see on mainstream news. I'm not going to be glued to this screen that's feeding me lies because look at what they were hiding. That's adding real value to people's lives because that changes their whole perspective on the media that they consume.
And it's parroting the same
points.
points.
Covering wrestling content makes people it feeds more into the nonsense. It keeps them more plugged in. Watching 7 hours of video games because you stream like how many days a week after work, that does not make them any better. All that does is dumb them down even more and prevent them from making money online and traveling the world because they're too dumb and slow watching you play video games.
And you think they're not dumb and slow watching you parrot the same things that are already being talked about by millions of others on Twitter?
Clearly not, because
it's not a unique perspective.
They are absolutely not. I have so many case studies of people who I've showed that they're in the gym because I post gym stories every single day. They have networked on the Creativity Kit. They started an online business. They started their own channel. They learned how to make e-commerce. They learned how to actually market. They learned some valuable skills. You don't learn anything from wrestling content.
You don't learn anything from watching you dance around listening to fucking whatever that Nazi song was with a yay jacket. Like, your content is not that unique either. You're parroting similar points that they already believe in, SNEAKO. You keep trying to separate yourself as like above it all by actually adding value.
I go and I dance and I wear the Yay 24 jacket because their perception of Yay is exactly what people like you promote, that this guy's a crazy person. He's on meds. He's crazy. When he's actually promoting is Christian values, is to unplug from this thing too, is to be awake.
But you are more plugged in than anyone I know.
Day.
You are more plugged in than anyone I've talked to. Like, you are actually just more plugged in than anyone else.
What am I plugged into? What am I plugged? You're plugged into what's on Twitter, wrestling, gaming.
You are plugged into anything that is controversial. You are talking on Twitter more than anybody else. You are constantly keeping people locked into your echo chamber. You're constantly promoting your Creativity Kit where they have to meet each other through that as opposed to real life. I'm preaching real life interaction. You're preaching internet interaction.
That's the opposite of real life if you're playing video games and you're in the same
That's
room.
not, I'm not telling them.
I am in real life right now, traveling the world and talking to people. This is the real world. You playing video games is the opposite of the real world. Your perception of me only promoting controversy is because the truth is controversial. The truth is censored. And everything that you're going to see on YouTube is exactly the narrative that they want you to believe in. It's not controversial. I have a very specific ideology. I've explained it here, and you've not pointed out one thing that means that I'm just trying to attach myself to controversy.
I feel like I have. Example, Cuties, again. You are preaching for a movie that you agree has horrible things that are unforgivable in it, but you still say it's your favorite film or an extremely important one. That's a problem. That is you attaching yourself to controversy.
I've explained that I defend the intention of the movie. The
But that's
intentions are good. The intention is Ye right all the time? Is Ye sometimes sound erratic? Yes. Does he have good intentions for the world? Yes. People think it's controversial because they get drowned into the clickbait. It's like with Cuties. They see the clickbait, they think it's terrible. They see a clip of Ye, they think he's crazy, when in reality, they have good intentions, and it gets drowned in from the noise on social media. It's not controversial. It's just true.
You can find good intentions in anything, literally anything, though. Not everyone's going to be a cartoonishly evil person. They're going to have some good things they say. So why don't you defend everybody?
That's the point. What I've realized in this, that you should make those intentions more clear, because I had no idea about how to be. I knew that you play video games, you reacted to what's popular, wrestling stuff, and you try to, like, people, if they're tired after work, they can go watch me game. That's what I know you for. I think that you should make that more clear. I make that specifically clear in all my streams, and you think it's repetitive because I want people to know exactly what I believe in. It's not controversial for clickbait. I have a specific worldview.
The worldview that you have is one that contradicts with what you put out online. Like I said, do you think that you don't victimize yourself? Like 100%, like mask off. Do you think that you go out through your day and you don't feel like at all hours, oh man, everyone's against me? Because one of your friends reached out to me after all this just to kind of talk about concern for your mental health. I don't know how true it is, but you apparently read Reddit comments and pretty much any kind of Twitter discourse around you. That is literally taking this plugged-in mentality.
I don't know who you talk to. I never go on Reddit, and I tweet a lot because that's my mainstream platform. I don't read the replies like that. I don't obsess over that. Why do you think I'm outside every day? Why do you think that I don't have the time to do that? I'm extremely focused on what my mission is and spreading the word of positivity and spreading and trying to awaken people from this brainwashing. I don't obsessively read over this at all. But if I was, I'd be in the same room playing video games. That's absolutely not true.
Okay.
Do I look like the person that reads Reddit comments?
Yes, SNEAKO, because you reply to them all the time. Like you fight these boogeymen.
Reddit comments?
Yeah, in your streams, yes, you were pointing out like these fucking obscure things all the time that have got under your skin. You were talking about face fucking someone that made a joke about you one time. You were talking about beating D'Angelo Wallace's ass because he mentioned you one time. Like, you are plugged in more than anybody else. You see everything.
Okay. You see how you're doing the same thing that you did with Cuties and what people do with Ye? I was making jokes about D'Angelo Wallace because he was canceling people for going to parties during COVID. Because he went on this whole moral high ground brigade about how much of a better person he is because other people weren't quarantining and he was quarantined. He went viral for shitting on people and canceling people, saying people should, like Bryce Hall, should go to jail because he went to a party. So I made jokes back at him. If you're going to get on your moral high ground, somebody should go and bring you down too.
But you're doing that now too, where you're putting yourself above everyone else because you're outside and I'm playing video games and what you're doing is real value.
I'm absolutely not above anybody.
But that's how you're acting. That's what you're saying.
Life. I'm absolutely not above anybody. I think that going outside, traveling the world, meeting different people is a better lifestyle than sitting in a room playing video games. Do I think that I'm better than anybody? Absolutely not. I've never said that, and that's the false misconception that people like you get when they see this content because like,
that's what you're saying to me. Do you know how many times you pointed out me being in my room playing video games?
It's not me better than you. It's that I would rather travel the world. I would rather make money online. I would rather unplug myself than sit in my room and play video games for 7 hours a night. That is a better lifestyle. Does that make me a better person? Absolutely not.
You're saying you keep using the word better. That is putting them head to head as what you're doing is a better decision. Thus, you are you're living a better life and morally superior because this is better than that. That's
not true. You seem like you might be happy with your life. I'm not trying to rate your happiness. Ultimately, the point of life is to live the happiest possible. What I do know is that what makes men lonely is gaming addiction, is watching porn.
Any addiction, yes.
Is being plugged into social media and doom scrolling and reacting to drama. That's what I know makes men upset. So I would rather promote a lifestyle. What's happier for me is traveling the world, being in Japan, doing what I want to do, unplugging myself from these things and meeting different people. That is what I know is a better lifestyle to promote for men, and how I became happier, how I got out of depression, and how I stopped smoking weed all the time.
Okay. And everything you just said is exactly things that I'm trying to navigate this in a way that's not going to spin you into like PR speak. Everything you said is things that people don't need to pay for. Your lifestyle is whatever makes you happiest, right? You said at the end of the day you want everyone to be the happiest and live the happiest life they can. Right? Is that your goal? Is that your mission?
Yeah, that's what we agree on, and that's what we should focus on doing for our audience.
So then why then do you shit on certain lifestyles that you think are worse than yours? Gaming. Why do you think that if someone is happy gaming for, you keep saying 7 hours, which is an outrageous amount, but we'll use it. If someone is happy gaming for 7 hours, why shit on them for it?
People aren't happy gaming for 7 hours maybe once in a while, but continuously gaming 7 hours a night, that is not a happy lifestyle for anybody.
And why do you think you're promoting positivity then? So saying things like racism brings people together.
There's much more to life. I know that there's much more to life than playing video games for 7 hours. Video games, that's an escape.
I agree. Jesus. No one. Let me make it clear. Video game addiction is not a good thing. I am not a video game addict. Streaming games.
Do you also agree that video games are an escape?
Video games what?
Are video games an escape?
Yeah, as is watching sports, watching movies. All of it is entertainment.
Why is Grand Theft Auto so fun?
Because it's a well-designed game that offers a lot to do in it. It's a big game filled with plenty of activities to do.
It's a game with a lot to do in it. The reality is there's a lot to do in the world, and it's condensed in one game. It's giving you a packaged version of what's possible if you actually experience life. People find a way to get cheap dopamine from a screen rather than experience what's outside in the world. It's too easy to get dopamine now. That's not happiness. Playing video games is not long-term happiness. That's escape.
We agree, but these things you are saying, you are fighting me on points I've never made. These are points that I agree with. Video game addiction is a bad thing. If you are going home and playing games forever, you're not in a very happy place, I imagine. But if you are, I'm also not going to be upset.
You argued, can somebody be happy playing video games for 7 hours? I'm arguing that's not real happiness. That's a fix.
But it can be.
Replicating real happiness.
But it's still...
That's dopamine. That's like smoking a cigarette. That's not experiencing what the world has to offer. That's a condensed version that is not real.
It's not experiencing what the world has to offer, but maybe they don't want that. If your mission is
that's not true. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants that in their coping, and it's too risky. Okay. They're uncomfortable. They don't want to go and risk rejection of the world. Everybody wants to experience the real world.
Maybe they do. I do. I agree. But that's not going to be the case for everyone, and I recognize that. I agree with wanting everyone to be happy, but you want them to be happy your way.
They don't have to be happy my way. I know for certain that the real world is a better life than the world that they condense in a video game.
I don't know why we're so hung up on games, but yes, for a lot of people, I think getting outside of gaming is going to be helpful, but that doesn't mean they need to completely stop gaming altogether. There's something called moderation. That goes for everything. Food addiction is life-ruining. Porn addiction is life-ruining. Gambling addiction is life-ruining. Every addiction is life-ruining. Moderation is key. Gaming addiction is life-ruining. It's all about figuring out moderation and also finding what makes you happiest, what amount of hours that is. Maybe it's more hours than somebody else, but it's finding that balance, and that's going to be different for each and every individual. Whereas you're putting a blanket on it.
This is why I don't gamble in my streams. This is why I don't promote degeneracy in my streams. This is why I only try to promote things that I know are better for people, because even though, yes, some things are good in moderation, it's getting more difficult for the lonely man out there, and it's better to be source of positivity rather than encourage the degeneracy that's keeping everybody trapped. That's just where we disagree on. I think that you've explained it here. You want people to be happy as well, and I think that's good. And I hope that you try to reiterate that more, because genuinely, man, I had no idea. And you know exactly what my worldview is. You think it's controversial, but I make it extremely clear. I know you think it's repetitive, but I want people to know.
I don't see how your message is somehow bolstered by spamming slurs, for example. Like during that stream with the gun. I couldn't listen to you because you kept saying slurs. How is that necessarily helping make people happy or positive in any way, shape, or form? What does that do to contribute to your overall goal? Because it's not humor either, so it's not seeking truth through funny. It's literally just spamming slurs because you were mad at me.
It is. The reason that it's funny is because I'm on a platform that has free speech, and you're not bound by wokeness where you can't say certain words and you're labeled racist or homophobic or transphobic, where you can say things even if you don't mean them, because we're not trapped with words.
But why say something you don't... Why say something you don't mean, though? What does that do? Wouldn't that go against your ideology where you're like faking it?
That's not a word. A word doesn't encourage, a word doesn't encompass a whole belief system. A word can be funny. The word faggot is funny. That was the funniest thing you said this whole debate.
How is this that? I don't.
You're laughing now. See?
Well, it's because it's just it's an outrageous claim. Yeah, it's like exactly. Talking to a child.
Outrageous.
Well,
You're
no, like
my point. It's
no,
outrageous. It's funny.
Your defense of it.
The first time we laughed this whole time. First time we laughed this whole thing.
This is
because of one little word.
Yes, because it's such a silly defense of it. It's like a child who hears "fuck" for the first time and he's like, "Woo, daddy said fuck." Like it doesn't.
Well, it worked on you.
Well,
are you because it worked on you?
If you just said it without your explanation of why it's good, I probably wouldn't have laughed. The point is, and this is talking about what I was mentioning, like with the pizza box. It's so outrageous, it's humorous. Like these things are outrageous, and that makes it humorous, which it seems like you can recognize.
Do you believe that Andrew and Tristan Tate are innocent?
That I don't know. They could be, and I've said that from the start.
You don't have a belief on that?
Well, because I don't have the evidence. They've been charged twice with the human trafficking, but none of the evidence is public.
You didn't look at all the victims and their allegations and how everything was exposed on WhatsApp, how they plan to make a Netflix movie out of this. All of that was online. I think.
But then,
if you cover current events, this is something you jump onto the pizza box, but you don't take the time to go and look at all the evidence that was debunked.
That's not true, though, because
why do you spend the narrative laughing at somebody falsely in prison, but you can't go and just look at a couple screenshots and see that as garbage?
Do you see? Well, hold on. Before you interrupt, I would like to talk about both things. But do you see how I mentioned the pizza box being outrageous, but that one? That's like a slur to you, me mentioning that. That one, you stopped laughing the second I mentioned it, even though it's the same principle that you were talking about. It's outrageous. It's silly. It's stupid, right? That's what makes it humorous, in the same way you were defending the slurs. But that one's a little too far. Like, you have these weird lines where it doesn't really make sense.
That's not a good argument, because you're laughing at two people who actually went to
I'm
jail.
laughing at the pizza box. I don't recall...
You're laughing at the pizza box putting two people in jail because of what you saw on Twitter. When I say the word faggot or I say a slur, it's just a funny word to say. There's no consequences for that. Nobody goes to jail falsely.
That's not true. People have gone to jail for saying slurs, which I don't agree with, the censorship of speech. But that we're talking about something totally different.
Right now, me saying that right now, that's
right. But and me saying the pizza box thing right now, that shouldn't be a problem. It is outrageous and it is silly. But let me get back to what you were mentioning. I have looked at the evidence from both sides. I always do. I don't just go to these tribes and just assume everything on my side is right and everything on that side is wrong. I take information from all angles in order to find where I personally sit on this perspective, on this situation. So, for the Tate brothers, being charged twice with human trafficking, while there is some shady shit from the victims, there is still real merit to some of the things that people were talking about, such as something you talked about as well, the taking of the passports from some of the women and getting there under the guise that they would be able to date them. Those are very odd, very peculiar things. So it's not like it's just, all of that's wrong and we have to disregard all of it because this is here. There is, on both sides here, evidence that makes it a very complicated case, which is why it's gone on for so long, right? It's not one where I know the answer. They could be innocent, they could be guilty. I do think it's weird they've now been charged twice. There is some very odd things there because that's not exactly a light thing to come after someone for. And there is things that you have talked about.
Is it wrong that people can go to jail for 4 months without any evidence or charges?
And even outside of the Tates, I have said that in this country, where you can go to jail on suspicion of things without ever being charged. It's a problem. Yes, it is a problem.
Okay. I didn't see that video. I saw the video laughing about the pizza box putting in jail.
Right.
Did you make a video about that?
Yes, and I talked. Well, it's in that video where I say I don't know if he's guilty. I don't like if there's real victims here. Like, I would never celebrate someone being a human trafficker because there's victims. I wouldn't celebrate him being a human trafficker. That means there are real victims there. Even though I disagree with like his Hustlers University and a lot of the dumb shit he says, I wouldn't want him to be a human trafficker. That means there are real victims being in terrible situations. I did say that, and I don't know if he's guilty. I don't know if he's innocent. Nobody does right now, except for them and whatever's going on in Romania. The joking about a pizza box is things I make about anything that has craziness around it, like the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. There's so much silliness there that I talk about, but at the end of the day, I don't know who's innocent or guilty. I'm joking about the goofiness of things that have come up, right?
Yeah, I gotta get going. It's getting a little hectic out here.
Okay. Well, I guess kind of to tie it all back to the whole crux of it, I feel like I've got to know you a lot better now. I do still think a lot of the things that you talk about aren't things that I'm convinced you're 100% believing yourself, because they run counter to the way that you live your life. So that's
because I tweet?
Well, no, not just the tweet. The constant victimization, the sensitivity to jokes where I feel like you of all people should be embracing the people dunking on you, because it shows that people are more willing to insult and make jokes about people, which is something you're a big proponent of.
That's not true. Both Meat Canyon videos, I reacted to the Meat Canyon video and I was laughing. I have a good sense of humor. It's the people advocating for my cancellation,
which I never
diving
did.
into my past and trying to be as a bat. It's not the jokes that I'm upset about. Charlie, you could admit that there are dozens and dozens of documentaries about me trying to make me look like a terrible person, people trying to call me a misogynist. That's the things, the false accusations that I'm upset about. It has nothing to do with the jokes. I don't care.
So the way I look at those documentaries is an extension of that fact, right? So taking your worst moments and making fun of you for it, like Willie Mack's videos, for example. I don't see those as cancellation. I think maybe it's this lens that you have, because, again, you were the victim of deplatforming. That did happen, right? That did happen. I recognize that. And I've always said I don't agree with that.
You say I'm a victim of deplatforming, but also I'm victimizing myself for pointing it out.
No, you're victimizing yourself when people are just making jokes about you, not advocating for your deplatforming or cancellation, just making jokes about you. That is not the same. You got deplatformed. That sucks. People making fun of you is not comparable.
People have made videos with the title "SNEAKO is a terrible person." That's not a joke. SNEAKO deserves to be banned. SNEAKO is a misogynist. SNEAKO is racist. They've written articles about me calling me racist when I joined the Ye24 campaign. That's not jokes. That's trying to make me look like a bad person.
But
you're acting like
you can call those out.
Like, SNEAKO's funny. Like, okay, there's one thing like, SNEAKO's a cuck. That's funny. Fine. Made a mistake. SNEAKO, horrible person. SNEAKO is a racist. That's not a joke.
So you can but you realize you can do two different things there. You can call that out as being bad actors and you disagree, and then you give your point on why you're not racist. But then you can still turn around and recognize that half the people on your collage, your fucking strip, aren't advocating for your cancellation. They are insulting you. Like, there's two different layers. There are people that are saying you're racist, you're misogynist, and if you disagree, then you can fight them on it, and it's not jokes. Then at that point, it's a debate to be had. But then
I do agree. Half of them want to cancel. The other half were just making jokes. But you all look the same, so I put you in a collage.
I just don't see how we looked the same, but that's not here to fight you on your perspective. I haven't seen anyone agree. I don't know where you're seeing the agreement outside of Rumble.
I agree with you. I think this conversation was good. I got to know more about what you stand for and your belief system. I didn't know what it was. And I have watched your videos for years, man. I used to enjoy your content, and then I'm one of the people that just grew out of it because I didn't see exactly what value you were adding to my life. And what bothered me is the fact that you were lying about Fresh and Fit, and that's how I heard about him. And that upset me, realistically, because it's like, look at the way that people who are telling the truth get painted as. They get painted as these incel, virgin, loser, racist, misogynist. They've tried to box you in instead of tell the truth about you, because I think that they don't like what you're talking about. But I would like for us to have another conversation in the future. I like that you have a good message about how people should be happy. I like that you're advocating for the gym and you're playing basketball and you're telling people to get out of their comfort zone. I think that those are all really good things. And I do think that you're funny. I can't deny about that. Like, it's a little monotone, but you're a funny guy.
I do appreciate the conversation. One more thing you mentioned there that I do want to point out, the boxing in of people. That's something I try not to do, and I feel like I've done a good job of not doing that, but that is something you do, right? You box me in as woke and spreading these kind of things, and all kinds of other people, you box them in on certain things that make no sense. Like, boxing in is something that you also do. Do you disagree?
Okay, but you can decide. You can see people's ideologies. Everybody I put in the scoreboard collage. What do you think they think about Tate? What do you think they think about Fresh and Fit? What do you think they think about Trump? You probably have the same point of view.
But it's still boxing them in, which is what you were calling out. Like, for example, you
Is
have
it
the
not
same.
accurate?
Is what not accurate?
Everybody in that scoreboard collage who has advocated for my cancellation or slandered me or insulted me, made jokes about me, they all also dislike Tate. They all also dislike Fresh and Fit. They all also think that Trump is racist.
I don't presume to know people's belief, and I don't really talk to anyone on the collage, so I don't really know. But the point is, you can make the same argument for you, right? If people are boxing you in as a racist, you do say things that do and lend themselves to being construed as racist, right? So would you fit on a racist collage? Probably. Like, how do you feel?
It all comes down to intention. It all comes down to intention. And
Okay.
these people that the people that I put in the collage, their intentions are to bring down the alpha. That's the common theme I see from all of them. Oh, alpha male SNEAKO, alpha male Fresh and Fit. It comes from a place of cope and of jealousy because they see people who are living a lifestyle opposite of them, and instead of admitting that there's a different path or admitting that they could have a good point, they try to bring down their character. That's the common theme I see with these people. So the intentions that I see from these people in the collage, they're not pure, they're not good. It's jealousy and it's hate.
And again, that is still something they could say about you as well. That's just one of the things I was
fair.
really.
That's fair, and that's why you made me realize that I need to. This whole hate brigade on SNEAKO in the recent weeks. I'm going to repurpose my message now. I'm not gonna. What up, man? Yo, do you know Moist Critical? Hey, say what's up to him now. We're saying hi. Yeah.
Hey.
Look.
I follow you on Twitter.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Hey.
Just traveling the world right now.
Cool, man. See Moist Canyon's video?
Yeah, we saw Meat. What did you think of the Meat Canyon video?
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie, what's up, man?
It was
Hey,
funny.
how's it going,
We laughed
man?
about it.
Cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
Charlie.
We squashed the beef.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I've been
That's awesome.
actually
Hi,
wanting to talk to you more.
That's
hi,
funny.
Voice Critical.
Hey, man,
Hey.
what's up? I'm from Florida, too. Good luck, Charlie.
Hey, thank you.
Probably.
Do you have a Valorant what?
Just like two very famous streamers. I thought I started in the club. That's funny.
Where's Ludwig?
Lud's. I don't know
Alright,
what Lud's doing.
I think that's a good way to end it on. Hope we could talk again in the future. I don't think we should have beef. And yeah, you did. I want to thank you for starting that whole SNEAKO hate brigade, because it's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am guilty of doing the same things that I am mad about, and I do attribute a lot of that to being canceled and a lot of resentment about that. But I just have to spread positivity now and not engage in the same type of behavior that I criticize. Yeah, you're right about that. So I'm just gonna go and, I'm not gonna go attack mode anymore. I don't think that there's any value to that. It's just gonna come back to me.
Well, I actually really appreciate the conversation, man. It's nice to hear like a more human side of you outside of like, what I see on Twitter or Rumble. I actually do think this was a very valuable conversation, so I appreciate you I really appreciate you taking the time to have a bit of a call with me about it.
Yeah, thanks, man. And mags, not clips.
Yeah, from now on, bro, if you're gonna be talking about guns, get the terminology right. You very much offended me with that one.
All right, take it easy, bro.
Hey, you too, bro.